part because rent wasn't as high as it is now and was not as significant event for expense as it is becoming now.
I know math is not the Conservative Party of Canada's forte.
And the budget will balance itself.
So,
there you go. He said it. Rent is very expensive under his regime. Welcome back to Canada Wide. Don't forget to hit the notification button. Let's have a look at Trudeau. The question from the reporter is, what is rent? And it goes into like a dog's breakfast. He can't explain it, and he gives this score, renter score, and the renter's rights. While you have right to pay a rent for 10 years, and you're going to be super duper off. Let's have a listen to it because I'm going to make some comments at the end. Let's have a look.
Wondering about the rent payments that are going to count towards the credit score. Would this apply in cases where you're renting from a private, like they own the house and you're renting directly from that landlord?
Yes. Rent is a payment you're making every month that shows that you are reliable and responsible in your ability to pay a $2,000 rent. But if the bank then can't see that you've paid your $2,000 rent every month on time like clockwork for years, they should know, wow, you're going to be able to afford a $2,000 mortgage or a $2,500 mortgage. Your credit score hasn't counted rent, in part because rent wasn't as high as it is now and was not as significant event for expense as it is becoming now, but also because rent is not credit, a $2,000 rent. But if the bank then can't see that you've paid your $2,000 rent every month on time like clockwork for years, they should know, wow, you're going to be able to afford a $2,000 mortgage or a $2,500 mortgage as you move forward. You're a reliable consumer. These are the things that are very exciting.
With Trudeau, and this is for millennials because that's who he's talking to, you have to listen to everything he's saying because it makes no sense. Rent is a payment you make every month to show you're reliable to pay. That's not what rent is. Rent is to pay for a part of a property or a house that you borrow and you're paying money for it. It doesn't make the bank, it's not reliable from the bank. It's not a payment to the bank to show you're reliable. It's rent to pay for a space from somebody else who owns the house. And for him to say, wow, you're going to be able to forego a mortgage because you paid for 10 years. So let me get this straight. You pay $2,000 a month. Okay. So what's that? $25,000 a year. So in 10 years, that's $250,000 that you paid rent, and you got a good credit. You got a good renter score, 10 out of 10. You're super duper. $250,000. Now, you needed $200,000 now to get a down payment. You can't afford it. In 10 years from now, that's $500,000. Like, let's just say it doubled. $500,000. So you already paid $250,000 in 10 years. Now you have $500,000 for a mortgage. You will never, ever get that down payment. And the only thing I can think of with Trudeau, because you have to sort of think how, yeah, he's like that maybe he thinks that if you pay a rent, put it into a bank, eventually he's going to come out with something like communism or something where he's going to give you a place to live and he's going to watch your internet. You cannot say anything bad about him. You cannot criticize him. You cannot drive more than 10 minutes from your house. You must stay in your 15 minutes. Like you will be a servant like 1984. Maybe that's what he's thinking, that once you get that score to show that you can pay rent for space for somebody else, the government will give you a place, but take away your freedom and your life. Maybe that's what it is, because he is not telling the truth, and every word out of his mouth is just crazy. It makes no sense. Wow, you will be able to afford a mortgage because after 10 years and $250,000 giving it to the person that owns the land or owns the property, you got a special credit score now. So what? That's not it. And he admitted too, it's the highest rent it's ever been. What is he doing with that? Spend more money, more inflation. Keep bringing in 1.3 million people a year. Just keep it going. That's all he wants. Entire Canadian economy looks like it's run on immigration. The entire economy, healthcare They need money for healthcare. They need money for a lot of things. So many things are broken in Canada. So millennials, look at the words. Listen to the words he's saying. They don't make sense at all. He is just pulling it out of his arse. That's all he's doing. So anyway, thanks for watching. I know this was a long video, but man, I know that the millennials can listen and make sense and have wisdom what he's saying. But, when you actually listen to it, the flow of the words, it goes like almost like a nursery rhyme, like for children. It's just like the question was, what is rent? Is the stupidest question. What is rent? That reporter should be fired. It's so stupid. And him to go on with this description to sort of give you hope that he's giving you a score and you're special. And then all of a sudden, magically, wow, the bank knows the mortgage 2000, the rent, the 2000 in rent, all of a sudden turns into mortgage magically, is the most ludicrous thing. This guy, I think his biggest problem, I thought about this before, his biggest problem is and I know that Andrew Scheer called it Trudeauing too, it's that we see millions of people in poverty, and Trudeau would say the opposite online. And it maybe his pretty face and the way he uses his words and how they articulates it, it's just the opposite. And that's the frustration part. Even the 8 out of 10s do better with a check. I don't know anyone that's got a check. I have to still figure out, what are they talking about? Is this retroactive? Because I haven't seen anything if they owe me this money. I haven't seen it. And don't worry, I'm not a fifth quintile person anyway, so I don't get it what's going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Best of goodbyes.